Let's create a hypothetical scenario where we can only do one exercise per muscle group. For example, we can only do one exercise for our chest, one exercise for our back. We can only do one exercise for our biceps, one for our triceps, our legs, etc. What would those exercises be? If I could only do one exercise for each muscle, what would I personally do, or what would I personally recommend for something else? Let's just do something hypothetically speaking. So for chest, I would do incline dumbbell presses for the upper chest. Why is that? Because the upper chest is the most aesthetically pleasing part of our chest. When we're training for aesthetics, we mostly want to focus on our upper chest. One of the best exercises to do that is the incline dumbbell presses in the bench. Now, if you want to have a more complete look for your chest, I would also suggest to try, dips, or maybe any chest press machine that is available at your gym, where you can have that full chest look, and you can also train for, some strength. Now, for our back, we want to have big lats and a nice strong back. The way to do that is with either pull-ups or A rows. Any variation of rows will be fine as long as you feel the squeeze on your back and also hit failure each time. If you're a beginner, you might not actually be able to perform pull-ups just yet. You need some assistance to do them. So if you're a beginner, I would suggest preferring rows over, pull-ups. You can either try them with a barbell, you can try them with T-bar rows, you can dumbbells, or maybe seat cable rows. Whatever you prefer, it's mostly the same thing. It is down to your preferences. Now, what about our biceps? I actually love training biceps. It's one of my favorite exercises. It's one of my favorite muscle groups to train. My personal favorite is the standard bicep curls, and that's what I recommend. I would do the standard bicep curls. Mostly I do them with dumbbells over barbells, but you can also try to do them with either barbell, with, a straight bar, or, an easy bar. It is down to your preference. I personally do dumbbell because, first of all, it is simple and also very effective, and it doesn't really put a strain on my wrists that much when I do them with a dumbbell. That's why I prefer them. Now, if you want to take a step further, you can also, try hammer curls if you want to have a more thick biceps. But we need to stick to the theme of just one exercise. So I would do, the standard bicep curls. Now, what about our triceps? To be honest, triceps is not really that hard to grow. It is one of the easiest muscles to grow and also progress. I would suggest to either try one of these two, either the tricep push downs in the cable with a straight bar, or the overhead extensions with the rope attachment. Both of them doing them in the cable machine. Try both of them, see what works for you. For me personally, I would pick the tricep push downs with not the completely straight bar, but with the bar that's sort of like a W or something, because the straight bar puts a strain on my wrists, and the V bar puts a strain on my elbows. I think it's called the W bar or the ease bar. I'm not really sure what it's called. It's the most effective, and it doesn't put a strain on any part of my body. Pick which one you prefer. They're mostly they don't really trade the same, but they're very effective. Now, what about our forearms? Our forearms are very neglected in most workout routines. First of all, if you're a beginner, I wouldn't really suggest training forearms because when you're doing any sort of bicep exercise or any sort of back exercise, your forearms will get the stimulus they need to grow. But if you're more advanced, what I will do is the forearm curls with the D handle, not the standard forearm curls where you grab a bar and you curl them or a dumbbell. What I would do is I will get the D handle attachment where you do your chest flies, for example, put it in the cable machine, head level, and just grip it and just flex your forearms really hard. I think Sam Sulek did this, but he did it with both of his arms in a straight bar attachment. I did it one arm at a time. You don't really need anything else. This is the most important part of the forearms because having big forearms is very sexy. What about our shoulders? The most important part of our shoulder is the lateral head. Why is that? Because it is the single best thing we can train to achieve our V taper look, our V shape. When we have wide shoulders, most of our physique would always look pleasing to look. And the way to do that is to do lateral raises. I would only do lateral raises, either with a dumbbell or a cable. It is not really important. I personally do them with a dumbbell. Now, if I'm being honest, we do not really want to neglect the other heads of the biceps. So if you want to have a more balanced shoulder look, I would just throw in some shoulder presses. I would prefer military presses where it is mostly with the bar and just push it upwards because I just feel it more on my shoulders than the standard shoulder press. I just feel it hits my shoulders better and is also very good for strength. And now our real delts, we don't really want to neglect the real delts because it is the part of our shoulders that will get us that 3D look, that tennis ball look. The best exercise I think is face pulls. There might be some other ultra scientific exercise that might be better, with this angle from the shoulder, but face pulls do an excellent job. Now let's talk about the abs. I would do flag leg raises. I much really prefer the leg raises variation over the crunches variation because I feel like it is hitting all of my abs all at once, especially my lower abs, which are lacking in most guys' physiques. Our lower abs, from our six pack, is lacking compared to the upper two pack. Our lower two pack is mostly lacking. And when you also train your lower abs more with flat leg raises, you also get that V shape around your waist, which is like pointing at your dick, which girls absolutely go crazy. Now let's move on to our legs. First of all, for my quads, I hate training legs as well as most of the guys out here listening. Every time I do leg days, the only exercise that I really enjoy doing is squats, and haven't really stopped doing the squats because it is really good for building strength in my legs and also trains the stability of my core. Our lower back and also our abs, our entire core is mostly trained when we're doing heavy compound exercises. But to be honest, it's not really beginner friendly to do squats. So if you're a beginner, I would suggest doing leg presses. It also grows legs fantastically and it's also very beginner friendly. Also, you might as well give a try if you're a beginner, the leg extension machine, because you can isolate your quads more. I personally would, if I could only pick one exercise for the quads, I would pick squats. Now, for hamstrings, most guys don't really train hamstring that often. Guys, what they do in the gym is doing the leg curls. It's just like the leg extension. It is beginner friendly and also isolates the hamstrings. But what I actually started doing and I really enjoy is the Romanian deadlifts. That is because it is first of all a compound exercise, which also trains more than just your hamstrings. It is also good for strengthening your core, just like the squats. And it also gives some emphasis on your glutes, since you don't, as guys, we don't always never train glutes. This exercise reminded that at least we mostly see girls doing this exercise, and for a good reason, because they make their butt and their legs thicker. And let's be honest, guys, let me tell you a little secret. Girls love looking it's at other guys' butts and other guys' asses. So you need to train your glutes for that. And lastly, we have calves. Unfortunately, calves are mostly genetic. You cannot really do much for our calves. If you have bad genetics on the calves, you can't really grow them. But if you want to train them, I would suggest training them. What I personally enjoy is doing the standing calf raises in the Smith machine. So just grab a step, put it in the Smith machine, put some weight on the bar, and just do your standard calf raises. I much prefer these over the seated calf raises. So yeah, overall, you might have noticed that I've actually put more than one exercise per muscle group. So let's recap. For chest, I will do incline dumbbell press. For my back, I will do either pull-ups or rows, but I would prefer pull-ups. For my biceps, I will do dumbbell curls. For my triceps, I will do tricep push downs. For my forearms, forearm curls. For my abs, flat leg raises. For my shoulders, lateral raises with a dumbbell. But we can also add on military press and face pulls. For my quads, I will do squats. For hamstring, Romanian deadlifts, and lastly for calves, standing calf raises in the Smith machine. So in total, it is 10 exercises, but if we count those extra two shoulder exercises, it is 12 exercises in total. These are my personal opinion, my personal favorite exercises. I thought it'd be a real fun idea to do that. Let me know down in the comments which exercise would you change and what exercise is your personal favorite. Thank you for watching. I love you.